What's up, y'all? It's Mr. 6'8" in the house. Yeah, I know. Look, I've been gone. I told y'all I got a whole situation going on outside of YouTube, and sometimes work just calls. But nonetheless, though, with that being said, without further ado, I wanted to sit here and come on tonight because I was, having a little insomnia. I couldn't really focus. I couldn't really get my mind straight. So, I decided to sit and hop on YouTube and visit some of my favorite YouTubers, which just so happens to be one of them, CraigTheWriter Stewart. For those of you that may be familiar with him, he is an author, writer, friend, producer, you name it. Static Mass Communications in Hampton, okay, and from Baltimore, Maryland, okay, represent for Baltimore, okay, down for the black people. Not just LGBT, but down for the black people, period. But I wanted to come on here tonight because I feel like too often times in the LGBTQ, ABCDEFG community, it's always easy to highlight the negativity in our community, but we never do highlight positive black gay couples or positive gay couples, period, but especially positive black gay couples. And the reason why I'm really specifying and really targeting on positive black gay couples is because of the fact that, a lot of times we see all of the foolery whenever there's a pride event. We always seeing people act a fool. You got kids out here, these young gay kids who are misguided out here tootsie rolling. Okay, they done sit here and don't want to sit here and ball all the douches and stuff out of CVS Pharmacy. They down here at Piedmont Park fighting and stuff, setting shit on fire, all kind of stuff, just all kind of mayhem going on. But nonetheless, I'm always sick and tired of always seeing the negativity on social media. So I figured I would sit here and put a twist on it, okay? Put a spin on it, and decide to sit and give my own little segment of positive black gay. Well, you get the message. You get the point. Positive black gay images. Something that will sit here and uplift our people for once, okay, in our community. Because I think we can all agree there is enough negativity, okay, to sit there and last a lifetime. So with that being said, I would like to sit here and introduce a new segment, something I'm just going to sit here and try out to see how it works. I don't consider myself to be a specialist in researching and, mass communications like Craig is, and, doing all of the writing stuff, like all of this stuff I used to do back in the day, as far as like loving to do it as a, hobby, like actually writing and doing all this stuff. But as far as it pertains to social media, I decided that I'm going to introduce a segment called Spotlight on Black Gay Couples, okay? And what better way to start with than Craig? Now, for those of you that may not know, Craig has recently, gotten into a relationship. One, I would say, that has been over the course of I would say maybe like a couple of months. Well, as a matter of fact, let's go back, because if I recall correctly, the YouTube video that I saw when he first introduced his, partner, Carlton, who I was saying get to talking about in a second. But when he first introduced Carlton, that was maybe 7, 8, 9 months ago, something like that. You all seen the video, 26,000 views, right? Epic. When you sit here and look at his page and what his actual viewership normally is, and then to see this one video pop up where he showed this guy out of nowhere, okay, gorgeous, okay, educated, black, well-to-do guy out of nowhere, Carlton Lee Jr. Hey, all of us was sitting here and just completely floored. We didn't know what to sit here and think. Hell, we felt like we was a part of the family. We felt like we was sitting here mean. You know how you sit here and bring the person over to your folks' house when you want to sit here and make something serious? We felt like we was the family, okay, interrogating this man. Harpo, who is this man? Okay, that's exactly what we was wanting to know from Craig. Who is this man? Because we was trying to find out, okay? So that's exactly what my nosy ass did, is I went and sit here and did some research, and I found out. And, I'm just going to sit here and give my 2 cents. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know my attention span ain't the size of a gnat. Can't sit here and focus for shit. But nonetheless, focus. So I gave my little 2 cents, okay, and put my little, steady cap on, and come to find out, this man that Craig introduced, Carlton Lee Jr., who also is an assistant, he's an assistant set director. Not only is he an assistant set director, hold on, because I wanted to make sure I get this right, because I remember that they had mentioned it on one of the videos before, and it says a difference, okay? So the set director, from my understanding, is if you're like, managing, like if you're in a manageable, damn, my country accent can't focus. If you are a manager, let's start over. In management, overseeing like the everyday, whatever needs to happen as far as on set. Not only that, but he is a set designer, meaning that he is responsible for drafting sets as well. Some of the things that he has done as far as his past work, for those of you that may not know, okay, I'm going to put you up on game because I did see him take a couple of notes in regards to him. And some of the sets that he has done has been Star. Okay, we know the series Star that featured, Queen Latifah, Miss Lawrence. He was a set designer on that. He did set designer for P-Valley. Very briefly, he did set designer for Godzilla, okay? He did set designer for Little with Issa Rae. He did set designer for Genius, Aretha Franklin with, I believe her name is Cynthia. I can't think of her last name, but I want to say her first name is Cynthia. But yes, get into it, okay? Period. Don't sleep on them, okay? Don't get it confused, okay? The title holds weight, boop, boop, and that's on what? Money, what? So I'm saying all of that to say that here it is, you have 2 black successful men. And to go back to Craig, don't sleep on Craig either, because we all know that Craig is a writer, okay? For those of you that may not know, let me put you up on game, because I also took a couple of notes as well, okay? Craig also did, he wrote, and mind you, these books that I'm about to mention, some of these books are really based off true events of his life. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the Book of Jewels, Words Never Spoken, a memoir of Craig Stewart, One Thing for Certain, Two Things for Sure, which is like a continued memoir, So Much to Say, which is like a book of quotes. So some of these books are like really based on like accurate events. Like he really goes into detail about past relationships and stuff and all of that. Now, I hadn't read the books yet because of the fact that I've been so busy working, but I got a whole literally, I got a whole book segment of stuff that I want to sit here and actually take time to read when I get some downtime, and actually just like do like a little book club, So just stay tuned for that. And on top of that, he also does a podcast. Well, not like a podcast, I guess it is. Maybe like a show. Well, I guess it is like a podcast. But he does like a podcast with Derek J, okay, with So Much to Say, which is like a continuation, I'm guessing from like, one of the books that he has done. So he does the podcast as well, and he's also working on a show with Derek J. So stay tuned for that. Now, for those of you that may be like, well, where have I seen him at? I don't really know anything about all of what you're mentioning. Don't worry, I got you. If you checked out WeTV, he has also been on the T.S. Madison Experience. Okay, for those of you that may not know, which is how I first met Craig, is I first was introduced as far as to Craig through T.S. Madison from watching her videos and just seeing this, really articulate man in the background handling things, making sure that the show that she did for the Queen's Supreme Court ran smoothly, and that's kind of how I got into like the gist of really getting into who is Craig as an individual, because beforehand I didn't know nothing about him. No shade, no tea. I just didn't, because I don't travel in circles like that. Like, even though I know people in association, but I really don't, as far as involve my life with a lot of people. Like, I really don't even hang out with a lot of people. And it's actually depressing sometimes that I don't have friends like that. All right, sorry, y'all. It was just getting good. My camera died. But it's actually depressing that I don't have friends like that, because of the fact that, it's really inspiring to see, like I said, well-to-do black educated men uplift each other. And not only that, but just to kind of give you a backstory. So actually, Carlton and Craig met through a group of friends that they're all mutual friends with. Not quiet as a skeleton. I ain't gonna sit here and spill that tea because, I don't want y'all to see and think I'm messy. It wasn't nothing about them, but let's just say that I used to have a little crush on one of the people that used to hang in their circles. Long time ago. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Keep rolling. Ways. So, on top of that, they met in a group of friends, from my understanding, and I'm only just kind of going based off on what I have, as far as remember in the past, because y'all, they have made a lot of videos, and there was a lot of videos that have to go back through just to even memorize as much as I am, my mind is recollecting. So forgive me if, I may not get every detail right, but from my understanding, and Craig, you can sit here and comment if you think I'm wrong on this, but I'm just sitting here calling the way I see it. So Carlton said you was in his DMs, okay? He said you was in his DMs trying to sit here and, hit on him and trying to, scoop him up, scoop him in the coop, okay? And you was trying to, make him, make a married man out of him and make a wholesome, domesticated man. No, I'm just joking. But you was in his DMs. We do know that much. We do know that that's kind of how it started. You kind of, made yourself into his DMs, which is, typical 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th century type of ish. I mean, if you want to meet somebody, meet them on social media. That's the best way to ice break. If you're too shy to say anything in person, hell, get in the person DMs, because clearly it worked for Craig. So, hey, it can work for anybody else too. I'm just saying. Nonetheless, though, so from my understanding, Craig was in Carlton's DMs. Carlton at first wasn't really seeing and feeling it because he didn't really see and know what was going on. Then there was a whole situation where, like I said, they all hung out in this circle, where there were like other friends amongst the circle. So from my understanding, okay, and maybe I could have this wrong, but that was the night that I remember that y'all was sitting on the patio, Craig and Carlton. And, Craig, you was, trying to sit here and get a little close to Carlton. Closer I get to you, the more you make me see by giving me all you got. Okay, keep going. And things, but it was somebody cock blocking, okay, from you sitting here getting your jush, okay, and getting your vibe on how you supposed to sit here and get it, okay, on how you supposed to sit here and reel it in, okay. They was blocking the vibe. Now, for what reason or whatever the case, but I'm just calling the way I saw the video as being portrayed. And the way the video was portrayed was that I think you had on an orange shirt. I could be wrong. Y'all was sitting on Carlton patio, and there was a guy that had came later in the video, and that guy just kind of threw off the whole entire situation. And I remember the people in the comments was going crazy talking about it. It was a whole situation. But nonetheless, though, Craig hopped into Carlton's DMs. Carlton wasn't really seeing him being receptive to it at first. And then I guess eventually, boom shakalaka, Craig's charm rubbed off on Carlton some kind of way. And they ended up together, It's all a blur. But what I'm trying to get at is that, here it is, a circle of friends. They all knew each other within a circle of friends. And, Craig decided to sit here and shoot his shot. And, what do you know? It worked. So with that being said, from that point on, we didn't even, well, I ain't gonna say we, because I wasn't really sitting here and like tuning in at that point because I had some stuff going on. But I did come back in on the point of where the video that I was talking about earlier, the one that had 26,000 views. So when that video came, and the cat got out the bag, because Craig got a Patreon as well. And there was some behind the scenes footage, I guess, going on in Patreon. See, I wasn't signed up at Patreon at the time, so I didn't really see and know. But nonetheless, Craig made a big old reveal of the person. Next thing we know, we see this guy pop up on the screen with a hat, a hoodie, real laid back, real chill. And this is what really got me into like really paying attention and wanting to see more of content involving these two because of the dynamics. Now, keep in mind, Craig is a little bit older than Carlton. Okay, maybe a little bit more than a little bit older. No shade, no tea. But that ain't the point though, because he still, act like a young man. He's really not like old, like for real, like no shade, no tea. Like this ain't even like being funny shade. But Craig is older than Carlton, but Carlton acts older than Craig though, in terms of like wisdom and like the way he, you know, just is. You know how like if you can have a young body but an old soul, it's like that with Carlton. But with Craig, it's like he's a youngster in a well-seasoned man's body. I'm just gonna leave it at that, okay? Sorry, Craig. I'm just keep rolling. Anyways, so we see these people come online and, you know, then we start to get the, you know, tea and the juice of what, you know, how they came together. We start hearing about the DMs and, you know, we start hearing about how Craig stated that, you know, his, Carlton's mom, you know, went and had an HIV test done or whatever, had ran Craig's blood work, and they had initially, before I even get to that part, they both already had come to the agreement of doing an HIV test, okay? So it wasn't like, oh, his mom just like, oh, I don't sit here and trust my child around you. No, that wasn't it. It was just a thing of, you know, they both came together and both agreed to, and then they did an at-home test because of COVID. So they paid $50 each for the test, which ended up, you know, as far as them testing, you know, themselves at home for HIV, stuff like that. So then Craig got blood work ran, and that's when he shared that, you know, Carlton's mom had went and did the hoop bra, because, you know, she probably was like, you ain't finna sit here and set my child up. So that's probably what it was sitting here and giving. But nonetheless, though, you know, after all that was said and done, they still didn't have sex. And I think this is what really like captured my heart and pulled at my heartstrings, because for somebody who I have always talked about and stressed about how sex is not a priority, yes, I do feel like that sex does play an important role, but it's not an important thing as far as that needs to be like the top of a priority in a relationship. And it wasn't until I recently saw a video with them that they had mentioned that they waited really 2 months to have sex. I forgot how long they said it was in the initial video with 26,000 views, but in the video, maybe like 6 days ago or something like that, they went back and started talking like Craig, you know, Craig gonna always sit here and bring up the past, child. And Carlton gonna always be over there looking like, child, here he go again, sitting here talking about the past, just like he was up there talking about that man at that party that Carlton didn't tell him about, that he had done sit here and done been bumping sheets with and stuff, and Craig had done got pissed, and Carlton was like, you know, well, I'm still, you know, I ain't really sitting here and saying nothing about the dude, because I'm still sitting focused on you, trying to give you all my energy and stuff. And Craig was like, I ain't trying to hear that, because you finna sit here and have me in the same room with a nigga, and you done sit here and did X, Y, and Z, and we done played patty cake as well, and you got me out here saying looking stupid. Craig was like, but that's beside the point. I'm getting off topic. So, to go back, said that they haven't had sex in 2 months, according to a recent video. So that's what kind of like really prompted me, like, well, dang, 2 months. So, you know, y'all play patty cake in the sheets, but y'all ain't saying do nothing else. What did you do? You know, what exactly, you know, like, never mind, you know, it ain't even my business. Tabitha Brown said it best. It's not even my business, okay? That's your business. And because that's your business, I'm going to let it sit here and continue to be your business. But the point I'm trying to make is that I was so inspired to hear of a black gay couple finally, and I'm quite sure it's probably more like black gay couples out there or whatever, but it just makes me happy to see and hear a black gay couple say, you know what, we gonna get tested together, we gonna wait to have sex. Like, I am living for that. I live for all of that. Now, I will say that in the midst of all of this, the one thing that I did not think was gonna last was Craig getting used to Copper, which is Carlton's dog. Because in the last couple of videos, baby, when Carlton was going to New York on a job, and Craig was dealing with all the madness and stuff, he was gone, Carlton was going somewhere on a job, and Craig was back at, you know, at the house, and Copper was sitting here peeing, pooping, and doing all kind of stuff in the house. I was just like, Lord, please give the man patience. Because for somebody like me, who also was not a dog lover, but ended up being with people who had dogs, it takes a lot of patience to really sit here and accept and come into that, especially when you're not used to it. So now just to even see like little small things like, you know, the dog getting on the bed, or the dog getting close to Craig, or licking Craig's hand, stuff like that, or seeing how Craig is just with the dog now. Like, you can really tell that Craig has grown attached to the dog Copper because of Carlton and because of his love for Carlton. And it just really warms my heart just to see that, because I'm just like, I really didn't think he was going to last, because, you know, Craig, one thing I could say that really drew me to Craig is that Craig is really finicky like me. So being that he's really finicky like me about a lot of things, I was really interested to see how it was all going to play out. But it looks like he is really coming into like just loving on, you know, Copper and loving on Carlton, you know, as a package. And I can really admire and appreciate that. It takes dedication. Speaking of love, you know, they also had talked about in a recent video about as far as who said the LOVE word. And they also talked about as far as like opening up a joint account to sit here and as far as pay for like dates, trips, stuff like that, which I never even really thought about. Now, I have thought about opening up a joint account with a lover, but I never thought about doing it, because you know how when you go to a restaurant and then it's like a person pay and then you pay it and it's like they pay, and then next thing you know, you be like, well, you know, I paid this time, you paid. Like, I really like that idea, because it kind of eliminates all of that who gonna pay what if you just donate money to this one account. And from the way Craig described it, you know, at first Craig had mentioned that Carlton wasn't for it, but now Carlton is for it the longer that they have gotten into their relationship, you know, which is like a little over a year. Oh, and before I forget, because I'm trying to keep this video under 30 minutes, the one thing that really made me cry, like boo-hoo cry, was to see Craig bring both sides of, because Carlton's wish someday was that he was able to bring both sides of friends and family together for, you know, just a get-together, fellowship, good times and stuff like that. And who would have thought on Carlton's birthday, Craig made all of this happen to where he did a whole entire video and segment dedicated to surprising Carlton with, when I tell you, everybody from Carlton's past to present was there. It was just heartwarming to see. And it made me realize that, okay, I'm not just going crazy, which is the more that I'm really trying to get at to this video, because I know I'm kind of all over the place, but that's my personality. So take me as I am or have nothing at all. Just take me as I am, hey, or have nothing at all, hey. In the words of Mary J. Blige, but that's the more that I'm trying to get at. Is that for those of you out there who may be struggling like me, who think that black love, black gay love at that is not existing, that there's no such thing as you meeting a guy that wants to wait to have sex, or you meeting a guy that's okay with taking a test with you as far as, you know, to get STDs, HIV, stuff like that checked out. To sit there and see that play out in real time through another person's life vicariously, it's just really warming to my heart. And it means a lot, because for the last couple of months, you know, I really doubted myself, like, you know, well, damn, is it just me? Because of the fact that I'm always just this hopeless romantic, thinking that, you know, I gotta sit here and lower my standards for, you know, just to sit here and get my foot in the door whenever I do meet somebody that I feel like I can see and have a connection with. But this showed me that by holding out, you're doing the right thing. And that's exactly what I intend on doing. Now, have I made some mistakes along the way? Yes, I've made some mistakes. I've had some hookups that I regret out of the name of thinking that, oh, maybe this is the one. I done had some, thought they was going to sit here and be together forever and turn out not to be. Like, I done had a lot of that. But the more of the story I'm trying to get at is that these two, although they have their things about them, but they also have a lot of common ground things about them. Like, for one, they're both very tedious about, you know, as far as their lives and how they are, you know, as far as within their own personal lives. The number two thing is that I like the fact that they both don't depend on one another for each other's being happy. Because I always say, if you are depending on another person as far as a relationship in order to be happy within yourself, you are in that relationship for the wrong reasons. Now, what I can tell you is that looking at Carlton and Craig, these are two very independent thinkers and two very independent people who are very much content being on their own. Just like when Carlton has to go to way to work, you can tell that Craig like, hey, I ain't got no problem with it. You do what you do. I do what I do, handle my stuff on my end. And when we sit here and meet up back together, we gonna sit here and be like we never left. And I like stuff like that because it shows me that, couples can sit here and have their own individual identities and personalities and still, coexist in the same space and come back together like nothing never sit here and as far as change. And that's what it's all about. Learning how to actually get with a person that's going to add to you, but not really always take from you every time. Somebody that you can come home to. Soon as I get home, hey, I make it up to you. Baby, I do what I gotta do, hey. And you can pull from one another, and it's an even swap as far as energy and the love and stuff like that. So I just wanted to sit here and give a special highlight, to this black gay couple to say, keep doing your thing, keep striving. It warms my heart to sit here and see, well-to-do, educated individuals. Both of these guys are, went to school in, if I'm not mistaken, from Hampton. Okay. And with Craig being from Baltimore, which he reps Baltimore, it's like that's one of the big things that they had in common. Another thing I noticed is that both of them have the same kind of vehicle, okay? I ain't gonna really sit here and say what it is, but I'm quite sure for those of you that sit here and watch out there, y'all can figure it out. I ain't trying to sit here and get y'all to stalk the people. I'm just trying to highlight the people, okay? Don't y'all be doing none of that crazy white-ish, okay? I'm just saying. But nonetheless, you get what I'm trying to sit here and say. Oh, and they both floss like hell. And I love a man that floss. I always say you can trust a man that floss, but you cannot trust one that don't. Okay? So I definitely give you kudos on that. And they're both, as far as what's the word? Somebody told me that there's no such thing as vegans. It's a difference between a vegan and vegetarian and stuff like that. But they both, basically is living like that healthy, clean life, drinking smoothies and shit. They all into that type of stuff, okay? Which I'm trying to get into, but the way my shape's set up, I'm trying to sit here and gain a few more pounds. So I don't know if I can sit here and really do that right now. But what I'm trying to say is that it warms my heart. Even though me living as a single man with really no friends, okay, I live a very isolated life. It's just inspiring to see something different for a change, on social media. So keep doing your thing, Craig and Carlton and Copper. And just know that somebody out there, somebody loves you, baby. Hey! Whoa, whoa. See y'all. I gotta go. It's almost 4:00 a.m. Peace out.